Welcome, everybody, to the new family orientation. Thanks for making it. See a lot of happy faces out there, smiley people, some kids. I'll watch my language, my kids. Um, got a lot to talk about. We're recording it. So if you tap out, you'll be able to tap back in on YouTube and all. I have Taylor Dembowski. You.
Just so you know, your camera isn't on. You're not sharing the screen anymore.
What? Oh, I don't have the video on. There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Thanks, Taylor. I have my trusty assistant in the next room, Taylor Dembowski. Taylor, this is her 19th year. Oh my gosh. 19th year at Liberty Lake. Um, she is the division leader in seniors. She helps out around the office. She is a great person for us to have. And if you're in the senior division, you'll hear from Taylor a lot. But Taylor, anyway, has also, she helps with tours. She does a lot of things. She knows a lot. She's heard me talk a lot. In 2020, when we opened up camp, we gave about a month of tours between Memorial Day and when we started camp, and Taylor was helping give tours. So she's going to be monitoring the chat. So she will respond to things in the chat, and she will prod me if there's things that I should bring up that I'm not talking about. But also, just know this: this is going to go on for a solid hour or so, and I am going to hit you with a fire hose of stuff. So if you ask a question in the chat now, it's like, Taylor's going to probably say he's going to get to it. So I would, if you're going to stay for the duration, save your questions for when we wind down and I say, okay, hit me with your questions. You could, if I'm talking about a specific thing and want a little more detail, Taylor will absolutely help you at that point. Okay. So anyway, we are just going to get rolling. All right, here we go. Let me share my screen. I keep getting emails from people saying they didn't get the link. So I am sort of pausing and doing that for people. Let me see my email. Get it up. Put it in the corner here in case I get some emails like that. Okay. And away we go. So this is me. I married my high school sweetheart, and we work here very long hours now, making camp good for everybody. Uh, I met her up in Caldwell, New Jersey, and North Jersey, which is why you'll see me occasionally with like a Mets hat and things like that because I am a New York kind of guy. Um, but now we're down here. We love Philly. We're all about it. Um, I used to be in a rock band in the 90s. I used to play keyboards in a band called Absolute Drama. At the same time, I was a middle school and elementary school teacher doing stuff. And in the summer, I worked at camp. And then who knew that my part-time summer job would become a career? And I was president of the American Camp Association. I was the keynote speaker at the first ever camp conference in China. Been on the Today Show, Good Morning America, and that kind of thing. Um, gonna pause for a second to send the link to a couple of people who are struggling to get the link. Let me just throw this in there for them. One more. All right, so this is my son who he battled leukemia for 7 years, basically from sixth grade to 12th grade. Stem cell transplants, immunotherapy, chemo, etc. Came out of it great. Went to Villanova, where he was manager of the basketball team. Spent the last 4 years with my son, which was super cool. He gave a TED talk. If you could look up Justin Pritikin TED talk, it's a pretty good one. From there, he got a job as an executive right out of college, an executive at Lululemon at their corporate office in Los Angeles, and moved out there and did amazing things, but didn't really like living in Los Angeles for a bunch of reasons, and ended up wanting to be a camp director. Just didn't want to work with me, didn't want to be my son, around town. So I'm partners at a camp up in Massachusetts called Everwood, and that's where he works now as an assistant director. My daughter went to they went to Liberty Lake their whole lives, right? And then they went to sleepaway camp a little bit towards the end. She graduated college and decided to go to a music festival in March of 2020, and then decided when the world fell apart with the pandemic, she decided to stay there. And she became a yoga instructor and a wellness person on the beach in Panama, and recently moved back to New York City where she's teaching yoga and got married to that Tarzan guy in the picture, Boogie, who works for us now as our staff coordinator. Um, so Liberty Lake Day Camp, we started it in 2002. The first year, we literally set up, you know, a tent in the parking lot with pictures of kids playing at my friend's camp. And we were like, this is what's going to be. And the first summer in 2002, we had 200 kids. Next summer, 400. Next year, 600. Next year, 800. Next year, 1,000. And we were trudging along, doing well. The recession sort of knocked us down a bit, and then we bounced back up. And then, and then the pandemic hit. Well, when the recession knocked us down, we were looking for ways to get people to come to Liberty Lake. So we started the New Jersey Renaissance Fair at New Jersey, at Liberty Lake. So we had it at Liberty Lake for 13 years. And then in 2022, it got too big. So we moved it. So last year and this year, it's at the Burlington County Fairgrounds now, which is much bigger, more parking, and less damage to our beautiful Liberty Lake camp, which is good. And it makes my wife very happy. So one more weekend of the Renaissance Fair this Saturday and Sunday. All right, it's only $12 for kids to get in, and it's awesome, ton of fun, and we get a lot of these people working at camp in the summer, which is cool. So Liberty Lake, it's like there's a lot sort of related to it, right? So we have Liberty Lake picnics. So we utilize Liberty Lake pretty much every day from May through September. So we've been having school field days every day here. We have weekend picnics, we have corporate parties, we have fundraisers, we have graduation parties, we have all this kind of stuff. That's the business I inherited when I came here. We started a foundation about 10 years ago. We raise money and we send underprivileged kids to summer camp, not just Liberty Lake, but at camps all throughout South Jersey and some sleepaway camps too. Camp Southwoods is a sleepaway camp that I'm a partner with a bunch of my camp colleague friends. It's in upstate New York near Lake George. We have a lot of Liberty Lake kids that go there part of the summer now because they do. Camp Southwoods does 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and 2 weeks. So you can go 2, 3, 5, or 7. Yeah, it's really cool. It's 5 hours straight north of here, and it's on a beautiful lake in the Adirondacks. It's ridiculous. Um, New Jersey Camps is an organization that I started to help represent camps in Trenton. So I'm always talking to legislators in Trenton. I was in Washington, D.C. a few weeks ago talking to senators and congressmen about the camp industry and youth development. Everwood is that camp I told you about in Massachusetts. That's like the Liberty Lake of the North. But I am physically here at Liberty Lake all the time, just to be clear. Okay. And the Day Camp podcast, I'm the podcast host for the second biggest podcast in the camp industry. So if you ever wanted to listen to the inside information about running, how I run a day camp, that's that. In regard to Liberty Lake picnics, we are doing a grown-up camp. It's our third annual grown-up camp. Last year we had 600 grown-ups here having a great time doing camp stuff, playing Gaga, and drinking beer and going swimming and that kind of thing. It's a lot of fun. You want a day away from your kids. So we got to the pandemic and everything was going great. And then, the bottom fell out. And we decided that at Liberty Lake, being that we were an outdoor camp and I was pretty experienced, we had a great leadership team, a great full-time staff, that if anybody can do it, we can do it. So we decided if we can open, we were going to open. And I rallied for the camp industry to open. I helped the government open summer camps, and summer camps got open before restaurants were open. So it really was something. And then as soon as they said we could open camps, which was literally like right after Memorial Day, all the other camps in South Jersey and metropolitan Philadelphia area were like, yeah, we're out. They all backed out, and they thought they made a decision. They wanted to play it safe and all that kind of thing. But we were figuring it was outdoors. No kids had gotten COVID at that point. Kids were in daycare centers for all those months during the pandemic, had never gotten COVID. So we ran, and it was one of the best summers possible. And then all the people that came, the 1,000 people that signed up to camp that summer, went and told all their friends. And ever since 2020, it's been ridiculous here as far as enrollment. Now that we're 80-90% enrolled in the fall, which is something that was never like that until the pandemic. It was a crazy summer. Here's my leadership team that summer with their masks on. I love this picture. Um, we are committed to doing the best and being the best. We bring in professional trainers. I mean, I talk to amazing people on my podcast and I get them to come here. We use a professional bus company. A lot of day camps get their counselors to drive. We don't do that. We have a professional food service, professional caterers. Most places don't do that. We bring in professional photographers. We have state-of-the-art communication. We use the most expensive, greatest communication tools that we can in the camp industry. This Camp Minder thing being the hub of it. We'll talk about that later. We have a social worker on staff, a guidance counselor. We have 3 nurses and 20 nurse interns because our head nurse teaches nursing at Rutgers Camden. Dietary specialist for just the dietary issues for kids. Middle management division leaders, the largest inclusion program in the United States, and the best ideas in the camp industry because I'm out traveling around the country giving seminars, talking to camps, visiting camps. I visit dozens of camps a year, and I just take all their best practices and steal them and bring them back to Liberty Lake. So I throw this out there because this is not normal. Okay, most camps are sort of what you would think a camp would be, where they sort of throw it together for the summer and they run it back every year. We are the state of the art, the standard. We get visited by other camps during the summer so they can see what the heck we're doing because they're sort of fascinated by it. We this is our schedule, right? This is sort of the easy version of it. The camp is broken down into these divisions, right? The turtles are the preschoolers. They are the kids going into pre-K and K. Freshmen are entering first and second. Sophomores into third and fourth. Juniors in fifth and sixth. Put a little light on me here. Come on, why don't you work? It's not working. All right. Seniors are the middle school kids, teen leaders going up to high school, right? So basically every 2 years is a different division. So you'll hear kids say, oh, I'm a second year sophomore, I'm a first year freshman. That's how they sort of talk here, like that. Every one of these divisions is run by a division leader or 2 or 3, because most of them have assistant division leaders too. So basically every division at Liberty Lake is sort of like its own little camp. And as a matter of fact, a division at Liberty Lake is about the size of most other camps. Okay. The sophomore division could have 150 to 200 kids at a time. All right. That is bigger than most camps, but we run it like that. So the sophomore division has 2 division leaders. One oversees the boys, one oversees the girls, an assistant division leader, right? Then there's 12 groups. Each group has a group leader and a counselor that run the group. So even though we're a big place, we have a lot of structure so that it's sort of like a corporation or like an army kind of thing where there's divisions and all. And then there's head counselors, and then there's myself, and then there's a program director and transportation director. There's a lot going on, right? We have before care that goes from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. aftercare. We have the buses arrive between 8:45 and 9 generally. We have a morning assembly, and then at 9:15, the show begins. And from 9:15 to 3:30, there are 8 periods. Most periods are 45 minutes. Swims are an hour. Lunch is a half hour. You'll see that the older that the kids get, the more electives that they get as well. We're going to go into more specifics with these things in a second. So the camper groups, the turtles are between 12 and 14 in a group. Freshmen are between 14 and 16. And then the sophomore, junior, and seniors are between, I'd say between 14 and 18 kids in a group. The teens, it's a different setup. It's more like a 1 to 12 kind of ratio. But the teen mentors are a different breed of leaders. So you see the weekly report in the middle. That gets filled out every week by the group staff. The group leaders, they fill this out. It goes to the division leaders who check on it, and the division leaders give it to the head counselors, and the head counselors give it to me. And on the weekend, I read 50 of these things. And then I mark them up and ask questions that get followed up on. So we're very much dotting the I's and crossing the T's here. Okay, we try not to let anything slide. If we see a situation, we jump on it, right? I tell my teachers, this is not like school where you see a situation in September and then you can sort of let it go till October. Like at Liberty Lake, we got some kids that are here 3 weeks. Like we want to nip things in the bud, and we want to make sure the kids have a greatest time as possible. Swim instruction, we have kids, basically the youngest kids up through the sophomores, which is entering 4th grade, have mandatory swim instruction every single day. Groups are small. We train not just our lifeguards to teach swim, but also our regular staff. So we have many, many trained swim instructors so that we can put a group of 8 kids, 10 kids in a swim group and have 2 staff with them, working with them that are actual swim instructors. Most camps don't do that. Most camps, they have lifeguards that teach. And if you're a lifeguard, that means you're good at saving lives. Doesn't mean you're necessarily a great swim instructor. So we know that. So we have a lot of teachers and other counselors helping out to making sure that swim instruction is great. I always say that when you come down a Liberty Lake driveway and you see like independence and aspiration and integrity, I said, if I had enough money for one more sign, it would say in swim, because I really feel that swim is a life skill, just like those other things. And when you live in New Jersey or Philadelphia and you live so close to the shore and you know people that have pools in their backyards and stuff like that, you need to learn how to swim. It's just really important. So we have kids that come to camp and they're like, well, I know how to swim. Blah, blah, blah. We're like, sorry, if you're a preschooler through a 4th grader, you're getting swim lessons. All right. We test them on the first day. They get put in what we feel is the appropriate swim group. And then every week we will send you home a virtual swim card that tells you how your kid's doing, what swim level they're at, and that kind of thing. So if you go to the pool or the beach or whatever with them, and you can say, hey, show me how you do whatever, right? Because you'll be in the loop. If you have any questions about swim, you email swim@libertylakedaycamp.com. And if you don't hear back from them because they're at the pool all day, contact the office as well. All right. I put the note here, how do the changing rooms work? Because I often forget to talk about that. So the kids come to camp in their bathing suits. So boys, their shorts are their bathing suit. Girls, the swimsuit is like their underwear underneath their shorts and their t-shirt, right? Their sneakers and socks. When they go to swim, they go to their changing room first. So each group has their own changing room. And they do what I call the Clark Kent into Superman thing, which is they go and they're ready to go swimming. They put their stuff in their cubby. They go up to the pool. They swim. All right. For swim lessons, it's generally at the pool. They get back to their changing room, they towel off. They put their sneakers and socks back on, their shirt, and they go back out. Right. The younger kids are going to swim again in the afternoon. Okay. But it takes place in the changing room. We call it the changing room, but the truth of the matter is they really don't change much in the changing room. All right, I got to send the link out to a couple more people who are telling me my link didn't work, even though there's hundreds of people here on this thing. But you never know with formatting how that works. So thank you for your patience. All right, back to the grind. All right, so free swim, everybody gets free swim every afternoon by division. So all the juniors swim together, all the seniors swim together, all the freshmen swim together, and they swim at the pools or they swim at the lake. The way it works for sophomores, juniors, and seniors and teens is they pick when it's free swim. Say, hey, Andy and Taylor are your counselors. Taylor's going to the pool, Andy's going to the lake. Okay, so you guys can split and go where you want. And you just have to be at that area the whole time. By the way, it's free swim. You don't have to swim. You could just hang out at the pool or hang out at the lake. It's free swim. Okay, we're going to encourage them to swim if it's a hot day for sure. What else? So the freshmen and the turtles, they go to the lake on a rotation. So each group will go to the lake once a week, and they do have a chance to go on the water trampoline. We have this thing called the Deepwater Test, right? Which you're going to be hearing about. It's a big deal because you can't swim in the deep water unless you get the Deepwater Test. So at the pool, it's an 80-foot long pool. You have to swim one time across the pool in a good stroke. And then you get the Deepwater Test for the pool. The lake, it's a little bit different because there's not like an 80-foot run. And it's a little bit tougher because the water's moving a little bit because our lake's not actually a lake, it's a creek, so it flows, right? A little bit of a current. If you pass the Deepwater Test in the lake, that counts for the pool also. But if you get past it in the pool, it doesn't count for the lake. All right. You'll be hearing about it. Like I said, there are kids that pass the Deepwater Test on the first day. There are kids that practice it all summer. And then finally on their 10th attempt, they pass it. And it is the greatest thing in the world for them when they do. Um, yeah. So when they have free swim, they swim in the parts of the lake and the pool that they can actually swim in. All right. We have 26 lifeguards, two head lifeguards, and an aquatics director. And the aquatics director is a Red Cross trainer. So he just ran last weekend a lifeguard training course where we picked up a few more lifeguards and sent a few into the community as well. What else about swim? I don't know. So the lake, let's talk more about the lake. The lake is a man-made thing, right? Like I said, it's a widened creek. Okay. It is spring fed. It is fresh water. We get it tested once a week. And it's brown because it's South Jersey and it's cedar water, as they call it. So it looks more like iced tea than the Caribbean. So you might want to tell your kids about that. It's very clean, swear to God. There's plenty of fish and turtles and stuff swimming in it, so they know it's clean. But it looks a little weird if you're used to, if you never swam in like a South Jersey lake before. But it is what it is. And the kids love it. That they swimming in the watering hole. And we do stuff in the lake. So we sort of get them. And of course, the water trampoline sort of, coerces them in there too. So I recently sent you an email that had a link to the lunch menu. We're stuffing envelopes right now. You're going to get a hard copy of this. You could stick it up on your fridge next to the spirit calendar. We're sending that to you also. So every day there's a main entree. So Monday's pizza day, Friday's barbecue day, and the other days we mix it up. Okay. So on pizza day, the kids can get plain pizza, pepperoni pizza, dairy-free pizza, gluten-free pizza, or they don't have to have pizza at all. They can get a tuna sandwich, turkey sandwich, ham sandwich, sun nut butter and jelly sandwich because we're peanut free. Um, there's an amazing salad bar. There's an awesome pasta bar. They can get pasta with butter, we say. It's really like oil, right? Or pasta with red sauce, lots of shaky cheese. The kids eat well. It's catered. The food is awesome. I like to say it's the best food in camping. I can't imagine there's camps that have better food than this. We have legit caterers. It's really good food. It's the same caterers we use for our weekend picnics, which everybody says is really good as well. So, yes, there's lots of alternatives, which is good. So, like pork roll, egg, and cheese day. Yes, big New Jersey day. They can get an egg and cheese sandwich. They can get an egg sandwich. Like it's all, they order it in the morning. They come in the morning. We take attendance and they take their lunch order. Okay. Excuse me. Then the group shows up at lunchtime. One of the counselors goes and gets the big tray for the group, brings it to the table. Pardon me. It's got 6 pork roll, egg, and cheese sandwiches, 2 egg sandwiches, 1 egg and cheese sandwich, 2 turkey sandwiches. Like it's all on the tray, the stuff the kids order. It's like on an order sheet. Then the kids can go up and help themselves to pasta or salad. Turtles, my preschoolers, it's family style because the little kid that ordered whatever at 9 in the morning has no idea by 11 o'clock what they ordered. So we just make a big thing of pasta, a big thing of chicken fingers, a big thing of whatever it is, and we just family style it for the little kids, and it works out great. What else? We have apples throughout the day. We're a healthy camp, right? So they can eat apples as snacks. We have pretzels, like pretzel rods or small pretzels that we give to kids. If they have a late lunch, they get an early pretzel snack. If they have an early lunch, they get a late, an afternoon kind of snack with the pretzels. Uh, for lunch, every day, dessert is fresh fruit. We slice melons. We have watermelon and things like that. Peaches, like whatever. It's fresh fruit. That is our standard dessert. Except on Wednesdays. You'll see on Wednesdays it says cookies, brownies, right? That's junk day. Wednesdays they get the junk. All right. But every other day it's just whatever. It's fruit, right? Or watermelon or something like that. And at the end of every single day, the kids get ice pops. And on Fridays, it's ice cream. I see this little girl on the camera. She's like that. Yeah, right. Ice pops, big ones, crazy big ice pops. right? All right. So anyway, um, dietary specialist. Okay. Her name is Victoria. Email food@libertylakedaycamp.com. And if you go to the quick links section of the website, there is a Google Doc that has the ingredients to everything. So you can look at all the ingredients. All right. And the nurses are very good. We have 3 RNs on staff. We are really good with the diabetic kids, of which we have a lot of them, frankly. And yeah, we're used to managing these situations. So if you have any questions or issues with the food, your kid has dietary restrictions and such like that, and I'm talking vegetarians and kosher kids. I mean, we got, the celiacs. Woo, my celiacs got lots of those. So anyway, moving on. There's a period every single day at camp for every single division called free choice. I went to, when I was the president of the American Camp Association, I went to a summit in Washington, D.C. with all top education people across the country. And it was pretty interesting because I realized after having imposter syndrome for the first couple hours that actually all the people there wish they were me. They wish that they can do in their schools what we do in our camps. And the really cool progressive schools are actually schools that are like camps. That's really the truth. So I went to a session led by the people that run the educational division of Disney about creativity. And what they explained to me, and I'm a musician, so I'm thinking creativity is like writing a song, drawing a picture, right? They're like, no, 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 no. Creativity is figuring out what to do in a situation. And kids who are go through their days, okay, going to school all day with the teacher telling them what to do, then go to dance rehearsal with a dance teacher telling them what to do, piano lessons with piano teacher, karate with a karate teacher, all those kind of things. If they just do that stuff and they don't just go out and play like kids used to do, they don't learn creativity. Free play is a vital, vital thing that kids need in order to be creative, to figure out what to do in situations. Otherwise, they're going to get to college and they're not going to know what to do. They're going to get into life and know what to do. So we put free play, free choice into their schedules, 45 minutes a day. And when we put it in the first time, the staff was just like, we're confused. Tell us what to do. And I had to actually be intentional. I had to be like, okay, this is the deal. You're playing a zone defense, spread out. You can play with the kids, but don't run anything. The kids have to run it at free choice. And it's a great period. The electives. So you all should have got a week 1 elective sheet if you're in first grade and up. Turtles, you have a set schedule. Turtles, you could tap out and go to the bathroom for the next 5 minutes, 3 minutes. So this is the week 1 elective sheet. These are the electives that we're going to be running week 1, as long as people choose them. Liberty Lake is like capitalism. It's like America. If nobody chooses it, we ain't running it. Okay. If lots of people choose it, we'll run it more times. So if I hired you to be a specialist, a teacher of these things, you would come up with 8 weeks of curriculum. You'd come up with a theme for each week that is 5 days long, Monday through Friday. So the easiest one to explain is dance. So I have a professional dance teacher. Her name is Lindsay. She's from Philly. I am very happy we have her. She is going to run dance, and each week is going to be a dance song routine that she's going to work with the kids that sign up for dance, which is, by the way, boys or girls, all co-ed. Okay, the activities. She's going to work on it with them all week, and on Friday, if it's good enough, they're going to perform it for the whole camp. A kid can go to art and choose. Let's see what we got here: multimedia, wearable art. They're going to go there and they're going to make stuff that they're going to wear, right? And on Friday, they're taking home their projects, right? 5 days. Kid's going to go to basketball. For that kid, they're going to basketball camp with the basketball teacher, who's a lovely young lady named Monica, who's a basketball coach. And they're gonna, and it's today we're working on dribbling. Next week we're working on this, and they'll play games too, but they're really going to get better at it. So because this is not a typical camp, Taylor and I would have this group of kids and we would all take them to basketball. And half the kids would go, this sucks. We don't want to play basketball. Just like gym class in a school. And then we would take them to art, and half the kids would be like, this stinks. I don't want to do art, right? Liberty Lake doesn't have that, because the only kid that signed up for art is kids that looked at this list of 50 things and said, I want to do art. So the teachers love this program because they're only teaching kids that are happy to be there. The kids love it because they chose it, right? So they choose a top 15 list. You go into Camp Minder, you put in this top 15 list in order of preference. So if your kid looks at this and is like, oh man, they have a zip line that goes over the lake and back for third grade and up, I want to do that. Well, you better make that number one because it's really popular. If your kid likes cooking and wants to take the taste buds elective, you better make that number one because that's very popular. If you make it number one, you generally get it. And then your other choices work off of that. We ask for 15 choices because some periods, the things you're asking for is not offered, right? We can't offer 50 things every period. We offer about 12 to 15 things a period. So mathematically, there could literally be periods where nothing you chose is offered, and we find something, we sort of profile the kids and find, oh, he looks like a sporty kid, let's give him hockey. They chose baseball and basketball, but we're going to give him street hockey because that's what's offered. And we do things like that. They go to whatever they got on Monday. So Monday morning is like Christmas morning. The kids find out what they got. Oh man, here's my if you're a freshman or sophomore, you get 3 electives. If you're a junior or senior or a teen, you get 4 electives. Well, no, junior senior is 4, CIT's 2 or 3. So they go on Monday morning to their thing. If they love it, they just stay with it, right? If they want to switch out, we have a system where we show the kids like a chart of what's available, and they can fill out a request form on Monday afternoons. We're talking about sophomores, juniors, and seniors. They fill out a request form to switch. And then we have staff that work after camp to try to make those switches. And then on Tuesday morning, they'll see if they got one of their alternatives that they tried to get. Okay. It's not a perfect system by any means, but we do try to switch the kids if we can. All right. Freshmen, it's a little more stealth. We do it on more of an individualized basis. We don't like formalize this giant switching process because every freshman would switch. So if you have a freshman that wants to switch, email us. That's the easiest thing to do, and we'll switch them if we can, if there's room, right? The hazard of the elective process is that if you ask your kid what they want to do from this list, they are going to choose things that they are already comfortable doing. And that sort of defeats the purpose of camp a little bit, because camp should be about doing things you don't normally do at home or in your backyard. We want the kids to try new things. So what I did with my kids when they were campers, I said, okay, guys, my daughter, who was a typical girly girl, like she wanted to do dance and art and music and stuff like that. I say, you pick one, and then we pick one together. And then you pick one, and then we pick one together. We went down like that. And my daughter would have never done fishing. She would have never done like the adventure-y kind of things. Okay. But she did it and she liked it. My son, who was a typical athletic boy, I did the same thing with him, and he would have never taken sculpture, and he would have never taken the artsy kind of things, which he ended up enjoying as well. So we want you to push them to try new things. Okay. And by the way, remember, if they try the thing and they go on Monday and they really don't like it, they can request to get out. Okay. And we could probably get them out of it. So electives is a super cool thing. Nobody really does this kind of thing. Yeah, that's about that. Moving on. Success program. So we have a lot of kids at Liberty Lake that get additional support for whatever reasons. Okay. When you start a camp from scratch, and the first couple of years you're standing there like the Statue of Liberty, like send me or anybody because we got to pay the rent and we need campers, right? We got very big immediately with people in the autistic community, and people started referring their friends and stuff. And now all of a sudden we have the biggest inclusion program probably in the country, because I would estimate that 10% of our population gets some kind of additional support. And we have a lot of kids that come to us outside of the extended school year programs, that are kids that truly need support. So for those kids, we do a sophisticated intake process. We talk with the families. We come up with this success plan. Okay, so that yellow card up there, it has, it has the kids' information. There's no diagnosis on it, nothing. It's just like, hey, what should we be aware of? What triggers them? What does the kid like? All right, how do we motivate it? And it's like that. And this information goes to the counselor. Stealth. It's all stealth, right? And it's a big help. Some kids need a visual schedule. Most kids don't get a visual schedule, but for some kids who need that, we make visual schedules like that blue thing over there. All right. We have a lot of staff that we hire. We probably have about 75 staff over the course of the summer. So they're not here every day. 75 staff whose job is to support these kids that need extra support. We don't say, hey, Taylor, because Taylor actually did it when she was 16. We don't say, hey, everybody, Taylor is going to be with Nicole, okay? And that's her butler for the next 2 weeks. No, we don't say that. We say, hey, everybody, Taylor's going to be in a group and we got another counselor. Isn't that great? Everyone say, hi, Taylor. Hi, Taylor. Okay, and Taylor's helping with everybody. But Taylor happens to have the same schedule as the other kids in the group. As the other kid that she's supporting, so she keeps that kid on the radar screen. But our goal is that kid is not going to need any additional staff. And I've done this long enough now, it's our 23rd year, that we have seen so many success stories with by the time these kids get to middle school, they have no support. They know what they're doing here. They're confident. We've changed their lives. We've given them all kind of support to be confident, right? So now the success program is it includes the inclusion folks. All right. It includes my social worker and guidance counselor, who are the support people for like the emotional and behavioral support. Okay. Which doesn't mean you have to have some kind of diagnosis for it all. Right. And then we have a medical track for our nurses. So when my son came back between chemo and he couldn't be in the sun and all that kind of stuff, he needed attention to that too. So the success program sees all of that stuff. We also are internationally known. We get campers who come from all over the world and their parents get Airbnbs in Philly and things like that. And they come to us like from China and they barely speak English. Um, so we have cultural support when it comes to those kids as well. So if your child has an IEP or a 504 plan, health issues, there's been a death in the family, any kind of things, let us know and we can help. We have trained professionals for this. No other camp has this, not even close. I've met so many special needs camps that don't do half of what we do, but we try to be really intentional about what we do to make it as great as possible. Turtles program, pre-K, entering pre-K and entering K. The only people working in the Turtles program are people that say, I love preschoolers. Okay. We don't just draft people off the street and stick them with 4-year-olds. Okay. We have legit people that love this age. Erin, very type A, division leader. If you want to talk to her, turtles at libertylakedaycamp.com. Okay. Teen program. This is one of the best things that we have in our camp for the kids entering 9th and 10th grade. So most camps, anybody here that ever went to a camp certainly knows this. Most camps, when you become a teenager, they call you a CIT, camp counselor in training, they call it, and the parents pay and the CITs work. And it's a amazing economic thing for the camp, right? We don't play that. We think that's BS. We decided that we want to create a leadership program for kids who really want to learn leadership skills. And they do have some intern periods where they help with kids, but they are not assigned to groups. They are not part of the ratios at all. And we have 175 campers who are middle school campers who at other camps, not naming any, would be CITs, but they're campers at Liberty Lake. And then we have entering 9th and 10th graders who at other camps would be counselors, but at Liberty Lake, they're teen leaders. Okay, because we take this seriously. And the people we have running the teen leadership program are excellent. And they love being with middle schoolers, just like the turtles like being with preschoolers. Because being with middle schoolers, I taught middle school. There's not too many people that really would choose that. So our team, our staff, we have about 250 a day, plus the inclusion people, which sometimes puts us over 300. It's one half of these people are former campers. So we're in our 23rd year at Liberty Lake. we now have campers whose parents were campers at Liberty Lake. We've done a cycle now. So half our team are former campers, which is nice. We grow our own. Um, 1/3 of the staff is our 11th and 12th graders, high schoolers. 1/3 of them are college age, and 1/3 of them are true adults, which, by the way, is way more adults than any camp that you'll ever find. Okay, so we bring on really good people because we think it's important. Yeah, and we have we have a media team, so we have a couple photographers, we have a videographer. You will see the most beautiful pictures of the most beautiful children and beautiful staff on Instagram and Facebook and we even got TikTok. But but all the pictures, all of the pictures, because we just put a sampling on the social media. All of the good pictures get put into CampMinder, into the photo gallery, okay, which we'll talk more about later. So Fridays, we take 5 minutes off of every single period, and that gives us an extra period. And we have a huge Friday assembly where the whole camp gathers at the Lakeside Amphitheater, and all the kids that have practiced stuff all week perform for the whole camp. So we have the rappers and the rockers and the karate choppers and the sword fighters, and the cheerleaders and the dancers, and it's awesome. And then it ends with a rousing rendition of the Liberty Lake song, where I will brainwash your children for the rest of their lives to sing in this song. That's probably the best song I ever wrote. So when we talk about Liberty Lake, we talk about community and character. Community, because we've created this community where kids really feel a sense of pride that they're Liberty Lakers and they know everybody and all this kind of thing. Because, you know, the statistic these days is that most kids don't know the names of their neighbors, which is sad. So Liberty Lake, we want people to know everybody within their group, within their division, know the names of the characters around camp, right? And really feel a sense of community. But then the second part of what we do here is teach character. And this came from that summit that I went at in Washington, D.C., where it's, you know, the Fortune 500 companies that create this group, the Partnership for 21st Century Learning, they say that kids are graduating college, coming into the workforce, 4.0 students, right? Valedictorians, and they suck at working with each other, at playing in the sandbox with each other, at being innovative and creative, and all these things that we nurture and teach at camp. So we sort of decided that's where we're going to come up with our 5 star points. That's where we were going to get serious about camp and make this more than fun and games, that we are teaching the skills of life at camp. So we came up with the 5 star points, and we came up with this with our leadership team at the time, about the top 30 people in camp, and we took a vote. And these are the things that we decided that we wanted. Little Johnny comes in at this level when he comes to camp, and when he leaves, he's at this level. He's getting better. So of course, kids come to camp, they learn independence, they're away from you guys. Okay? I mean, that's just huge, huge, right? They learn integrity. I tell people we're not a religious camp, but we may as well be, because the way that we talk about integrity here is very much like that. We don't tolerate bad language, bad behaviors. We encourage, we reward sharing and caring and trust and loving, right? And respect and all that stuff. We teach the skills of making and keeping friends, which kids don't learn. This is a formal setting for learning the skills of making and keeping friends, right? Our counselors, right? We have basketball counselors and we have fishing counselors and all that stuff. But most of the counselors are friendship counselors, is what they really are. That's why they're here. Aspiration, there's so much stuff at camp that kids are like, I can't do that. I've never done that before. And we get them to do it. Whether it's climbing a 25-foot rock wall or getting on stage in front of 1,000 people on a Friday assembly. Okay, it's pretty awesome what we get kids to aspire to. And then teamwork, they're functioning as a group. Man, I love it when we get kids that come to camp that don't have brothers and sisters, and they come here and all of a sudden they got 15 brothers and sisters, and they better deal, they better cope, and they're going to learn quick that you don't always get a blue ice pop, you know, that you have to wait your turn, and that your opinion, it counts, but it counts equally with all these other kids too. So we take this stuff very, very seriously. And if we hired you to work at our camp, we would be asking you to integrate this into your electives, into tennis, into pickleball, right? Into basketball, et cetera, et cetera. So we do so many things in order to make this work. If and when you read the parent resource guide, that talks about the campaign of character, and we have these beads that reward kids with. We have fuzzies, the little fuzzy guys for the big things. We give Liberty Bucks to our staff. You know, we do a lot of little things. I'm not going to go through them all, but just know that we take it very seriously. We do not just talk the talk, we also walk the walk. And we take time to talk about what we've experienced at camp. We don't just play the games and move on to the next thing. We do the stuff and then we talk about what we learned, what we saw. Okay. And these things right here, if you want to take a screenshot, these are awesome questions to talk to your kids about when you're eating dinner and you say, hey, what'd you do at camp today? And your kid says, nothing. Okay. Ask them questions like this. What did you accomplish today? What are you going to do about that tomorrow? Right? Put it back to them. Well, there was a kid that was being mean to me at lunchtime. Okay, well, what did he say? What are you going to do about it? Right? What challenges did you have like that? Right? Um, how can we get better? Right? This is all about helping. We're partners with you. We want to get your kids to be awesome, just like you do, and be killer humans, right? To be successful leaders in life. So having these debrief conversations with them is really important. It really is. And not just, you know, did you get your blue ice pop? Well, you guys have sent your kids to Liberty Lake Day Camp, an outdoor camp where it's going to be 100 degrees sometimes. There's going to be liquid sunshine sometimes. Last summer, we had freaking Canadian wildfires. My God. You know, we became so successful at Liberty Lake because we were an outdoor camp during the pandemic. And then last year, all of a sudden, they were telling us we should be indoors. So your kids are going to have some serious resilience and they're going to learn some serious character. And we had our first staff training last night, and I was telling them that they're going to be strong like bulls by the end of the summer because it's hard being a counselor at Liberty Lake. And I'm going to tell you, the first few days at Liberty Lake is hard being a camper because they're going to have to learn all these different things and which way to go and everybody's name and all that kind of stuff. And they're going to be exhausted because they're going to be outside all day. So anyway, when things are fun, we can tolerate more adversity. It is true. And they learn in these situations. Okay. Kids are, what's the word? Anti-fragile. You drop them a little and they get stronger. Okay. They don't break like glass. They get stronger. Okay. Take it from my son that had leukemia. Okay. That kid is a powerhouse now. Right. So yeah, we want to protect them from discomfort, but we want to walk them through it also. All right. So yeah, down below, these are some awesome books. If you guys are readers or you listen on Audible to things, Too Much of a Good Thing, Blessings of a Skinned Knee, Happy Campers. These are tremendous books that came out about 10, 20 years ago that I still think are amazing. The Coddling of the American Mind and the Anxious Generation are from this Jonathan Haidt guy, who is like the greatest researcher and author right now for youth development. And 10 to 25 is a book that came out for the ages of 10 to 25. It's unbelievable, by a guy named David Yeager, who's also a researcher, and a great book, just lots of stories. So Anxious Generation, I am not making money off of this. I met this guy. He is amazing. This book is phenomenal and talks about all of the issues that we face as parents in this generation with screens and technology and cell phones. And he has his new norms here, which I wanted to point out. This is what he feels if he was the president of the United States. No smartphones before high school, no social media before 16, phone-free schools, and more playing outside and having independence. I read the other day that Canada just outlawed phones in the schools for next year, and so did the UK. So two countries have already jumped on this. This book came out in March, and two countries are following number one. No, number three. Okay. Um, I have a friend. He has a kid, wants a phone. They gave him a little wristwatch thing that just calls like the numbers that just go. Kids do not need phones. at a young age, right? Social media, I can't believe when like an 11 or 12-year-old tries to Facebook friend me. I'm just like, what is going on here, right? Social media is tough on these kids, my friends. So anyway, I met this guy and I was telling him everything we do at Liberty Lake, and he was just like so happy about it. And then he said, how do you explain this to the parents? And I sort of started telling him, and he said, what about risk? Do you talk to your parents about risk? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, I feel that one of the reasons that this new generation of kids is like entering life and they're scared of everything and they're canceling people out and all this kind of stuff is because they never were given the opportunity to take risks. They didn't play outside on their own enough. They didn't, walk to school on their own. They didn't walk into the forest. They didn't climb the trees. They didn't do things that are actually risky because we get so worried about these things, right? And he says, hearing what they do at Liberty Lake, he's like, he was happy that we take risks at Liberty Lake, and we put kids in positions to take risks. And he says that that should be the top of my marketing because it's so important. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. Speaking of safety, though, we do have people that guard our gate, right? We have someone in the morning, someone in the afternoon. They take the jobs very seriously. There's one way in and one way out, which is nice. And the rest of the property is fenced. Um, we have emergency plans. We work with the county and state Office of Emergency Management on that. And we have a new head of operations named Rob Swantek, who actually was in charge of security for a college and a hospital before coming here. So we're really lucky to have that. We have an alert system that can alert the whole camp when we do drills or if it was real. We are a uniform camp, so our staff wears staff shirts, except on dress-up days. Um, we don't have visitors. If we do have visitors, if you came to our camp because you had to come for whatever reason, we'd be slapping a visitor tag on you and you would be escorted to where you got to go. Yeah, we have a lake, but we got a lot of lifeguards, a lot of them watching that lake from the moment that we open the gate of camp until the moment we close it, from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., even though there's nothing scheduled there. I just don't want some random kid coming and deciding to go for a swim. We have this camp minder, which is our database and our communication arm, which we can send an email. I can write an email to you guys right now and send it to the entire camp in 30 seconds. Okay. And then we have mass texting and we have this companion app too. All right. I mentioned this a little bit before, and I'm going to go back to it again. The first week of camp. Your kid's going to be exhausted. My staff's going to be exhausted. It's like going to boot camp. People, we live in an indoor society. Kids are indoors almost their entire lives these days. Then they come to Liberty Lake and we're running around in the sun a lot of times. And they come home, and I just want you to remember what it feels like when you go to the beach all day and then you come home and you're just like, wow, it's 7 o'clock at night. I want to go to sleep. That's what the kids are going to feel like to a degree. They're not going to be in the sun all day. They won't. Okay. But they're going to be outside and they're going to be walking around. They're going to be moving. Okay. So I run the New Jersey Renaissance Fair. So I've been at the Renaissance Fair the last few weekends and walking around all day at a Renaissance Fair. At the end of the day, I'm just like, geez, I'm just not used to walking around all day. And that's what the kids are going to feel like too. So they're going to be exhausted. And when you get exhausted, you get emotionally spent and you get cranky. Okay. They're going to experience things at camp totally unlike anything they've ever experienced before. And this is a good thing. Okay. It's positive growth, but there's going to be frustrations built in with that. And you just need to be supportive of that. Okay. Don't buy into their whining, frankly, right? There's a good chance they didn't get their way all the time. And kids may feel the need to bring this to your attention and frankly try to trigger you. Okay. Because that's what kids do. They know you, they know how you roll. The worst thing you can do is feed into any negativity. They must go to sleep early the first week that they're at camp. I mean, I tell the parents of little kids, these kids are going to come off the bus. They're going to fall asleep on the bus. Okay. Because the buses are air conditioned. So they're going to fall asleep on the bus. They're going to get home. You're going to hose them down or give them a shower or a bath. You're going to throw some food in their mouth and then get them to bed. I don't give a crap if it's sunny out still. Get them in bed. okay? Because they're going to need it. They're going to need that sleep. And by the way, some kids are going to wake up that next morning and they're not going to want to wake up. That's the part of the problem. They're going to get up next morning and they're going to be like, I don't want to go to camp. I don't want to go to camp anymore. Oh, it's boring. Blah, blah, blah. It's because they're tired. Okay. Just motivate them, keep them moving, keep that ball rolling. Okay. Because once they get their sea legs under them, they're going to be fine. Okay. But we got to get to that point. So my suggestion between now and the start of camp is get the sea legs going now. Get them outside, get them riding their bike, get them playing outside, get them doing stuff outside, away from the screens, outside of the air conditioning. Preparing for camp. Anxiety is about to peak. For parents, not the kids. Kids are fine. They're anti-fragile. They bounce back. Okay. Parents freak out, right? Children are used to new situations, but we over worry about our kids. All right. So just try not to transfer your stress onto them. If you feeling stress, keep it to yourself. Right. Your kid needs your absolute confidence from now to the first day. So be strong, be realistic with them. Okay. Let them know it won't be easy. Okay. I told my staff yesterday, I told them this might be the hardest job they ever do in their entire life. Okay. Taking care of other people's children outdoors. Okay. I'm honest with them. I rate no news as good news. This is not the Goddard School where my kids went, where I used to pick them up and they would give me a little thing and it said that Justin ate his lunch and he ate a little bit of his dessert and he had a bowel movement and all that kind of thing. Right. At Liberty Lake, no news is good news. Okay. You're going to get weekly updates from the division leaders. You can always email the division leaders back and ask them a question or ask them for a phone call. They'll be happy to. Okay. But we are not doing the daycare center thing where we're going to be telling your kids all this kind of thing, which is really, so again, we're going to send out photos on social media. You're going to see photos. You're going to see that it's superhero day and there was Superman and the Wolverine and they were doing this crazy thing and you can ask your kids about it. Okay. And you're going to get a weekly update from your division leaders too about what was going on. You can ask the kids things about that too, but you're not going to get this individualized thing about like how they're eating and how they're doing and all that kind of thing. We're getting that information. You saw the weekly report. We're getting a report on your kids. We keep it in because we want like sort of a little bit of what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas kind of thing, right? This is the kids' little special world. So, but you can always ask and the division leaders will help you out. Clothing. Go to Target, go to Walmart. Okay. Don't send the kids in Lululemon, please. Because they're going to get paint on it, right? They're going to get mud. They're going to get sweat. They're going to get the iced tea colored lake on it. Like they're going to come home. It's going to be gross. Okay. You know, when you go into Target and there's that first section of like the really cheap clothes, that's what you should dress your kids in to come to camp, especially sneakers and socks, because those things get really gross. When my kids went to sleepaway camp, we used to actually buy disposable socks because I didn't want to see those socks after going to sleepaway camp. So yeah, and then start labeling everything. Whether you're writing things on the tags or whether you're buying the real labels, the clothing labels, which I'll show you some stuff about. If your kid loses a towel and you send an email and you say, my son lost his Buzz Lightyear towel, does not have his name on it. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, on a given day at camp, we probably have 50 Buzz Lightyear towels somewhere. Okay. So putting names on things, if you want to get them back, is pretty important. If your kid loses something with their name on it and we find it, we can give it back to them. If your kid loses something without a name on it, we don't know what to do with it. Okay. Because he probably didn't lose it. I'm saying he, but you know, boys lose more stuff, but you know, he probably lost it in a place that wasn't a logical place either. Because if it was a logical place, he'd find it. By the way, the kid in this picture here, in the back with the crazy blonde hair, his name is Connor. He's 15 and he's been at camp for about 8 or 9 years. He's the most unbelievable musician we ever had go through here. He plays guitar, drums, sings, all this kind of stuff. He's in a band called Siobhan that plays out now, and this is on YouTube. If anybody is into like real serious heavy metal, like Slipknot kind of stuff, Check out this 15-year-old. He played every single instrument on this, and he just played the Stone Pony. That's my man, Connor. He's the drummer in the Liberty Lake Band, by the way. All right, anyway, I digress. Rules, discipline. Inappropriate behavior is not tolerated by campers nor staff. When somebody steps out of line, it's pretty obvious, and we deal with it immediately. I own Liberty Lake Day Camp. I pay a really big mortgage. Okay. I am not going to leave a kid in camp that is causing issues because that's bad business for me also. So if I have a group of 15 kids and one kid can't keep it together, and by the way, we try really hard. We try harder than any camp. We'll bring a social worker in, guidance counselor. We'll talk to you. We'll have many conversations. We may even bring you in for a meeting and talk about it. But if the behavior can't get on track and we can't trust that this kid is going to behave and do the things that neurotypical kids should do, then this is not the place for them. And frankly, this is not the place for everybody. There's a lot of kids that come to this camp, right? And it's hot and it liquid sunshines. So some kids, that's too much stimuli. It's too much. They should go to the camp that takes place at the school that's indoors part of the time with a heck of a lot less kids and a lot more stimuli, a lot less stimuli going on, right? And yeah, we have this great support system and support team, and we have all these support counselors, but they're allocated. They are allocated. We can't necessarily find an extra one in the middle of summer if we need that. Communicating with camp. Check your emails regularly. We will text you only important stuff from the camp number, which is 609-499-7820. So you should put the camp number in your phone so that when you get a text message from us, you know it's from us. Okay. But like I said, we're not texting you, hey, happy first day of summer. Like, we're not doing that crap. We only text important things. And we email a lot. Okay. Especially once your kid is here. The bus captains are going to have a communication system with you guys, the bus staff, weekly letters from the emails, weekly swim cards, and of course, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We put a lot of stuff up on YouTube. Kids make a lot of videos here, and we make videos also. This page on the right this is the back page of your parent resource guide. So you will have a hard copy of this. Plus, I sent you the link to it also. Yeah, so you have the phone numbers, emails, and then you see that like each division has their own email address. So there's turtles@libertylakedaycamp.com, frosh@libertylakedaycamp.com, right? Each of those emails goes to the division leaders of that division. You can always hit me up, but I'm very good at delegating, and I have lots of great people that have been here for years. Like I said, Taylor, who's in the chat, has been here for 19 years, and she's only like 26. 25? I don't know. So 25. So so you can email me, but very often I am going to scoot that email off to the appropriate person as well. Right? But I can help. There's no doubt about it. But I'm also not sitting at this desk here all summer. I am outside. I am running around outside. Your kids are going to know me. I'm going to like Mickey Mouse at Disney World. Right? They're going to see me. They're going to high five me. All right. So if you email me, it's not like I'm getting right back to you either. If you need a right back, call the office or email the office@libertylakedaycamp.com, or just call the office. All right. And the division leaders, they probably check their email, I'm going to say 3 times a day. All right. So they make time, but at the same time, they do a lot of checking their email, after they take a shower and they're home sitting on their couch, on their laptop, because that's, after a long, hot day, that's just a fact. So this is the website. We have a new website. We're making it better every day because you put up a new thing and all of a sudden you find things wrong with it and such, right? So when I talk about communication, there's libertylakedaycamp.com. That's the website. Okay. libertylakedaycamp.com. You go to the website and there's a button at the top. It says returning families. That's you now. You're not new family anymore. New is for people that are brand new. You're not brand new. Now you're signed up. You're going to click returning families, and it takes you to this page, best summer every summer. And then the link to the left says quick links. Quick links is awesome. Quick links has the top, it has the elective sheet, has a spirit calendar, has the bus times. It has a clearinghouse of great stuff in there. I'll get into more detail with. Okay. If you want to get into CampMinder, which is the database that has the registration stuff and the health forms and stuff like that, you have to log in. So that little red button on the right says account login. That's what you use to get in there. Okay. And then CampMinder now has an app and it's called Companion. And if you download the Companion app, it's pretty cool. First of all, you can do all your forms on it. You can do your top 15 elective list all on your phone, right? Which is sweet. And if you want, optional, they have a facial recognition option where you can upload pictures of your kid, like straight, sideways, whatever. And then every time a picture gets uploaded into the password protected online photo album, I'm not talking about Facebook and Instagram, the password protected online photo album, it's in CampMinder, you will get a push notification. And then you'll be like, oh, and let me tell you, that's nice. You know why? Because our boy Frank, that's our photographer, uploads like 3,000 pictures a week. Right? And unless you're a psycho that's going to go through 2,000 or 3,000 pictures a week to find the one of your little kid, the facial recognition could be a very cool thing. And by the way, he's an awesome photographer, and the pictures are killer. So, just saying, it's creepy facial recognition. I'm not sitting here endorsing it. I'm just saying it's got some good points. All right. So this is what it looks like when you log into CampMinder. Okay, this is your dashboard. Forms and documents is where all the important stuff is, like the top 15 elective list if you haven't done that yet, like the health form, God forbid if you haven't done that yet. Okay, and you see there's actually a financial management one. The financial management is great. So you don't have to bother Joe, my administrative director. You can click that and print out receipts and statements and tax forms right there. Financial management. Okay, probably should have a different title, but that's what CampMinder called it. So you don't have to email and say, hey, can you send me a receipt from last summer? You can just go and do it yourself, right? So this is CampMinder. This is your dashboard, all right? And you see the top thing says photos. That's the photo gallery is in there. And you can buy the photos too, if you want to. You want to get the hardcore version of it, right? As opposed to like the thumbnail. So when you go into forms and documents, which is what I'm in now, you can see this is Maggie Carnival. This is Brandy, who's one of our directors here, oversees the program. This is her daughter. So asthma treatment plan is only, of course, if you have that for your kid. Camper photo. There's the top 15 elective choices. So Brandy is terrible at doing that. And then her kid does not get the elective she wants. And it's her mom's fault. Okay. So please update your electives. Do it one time now. So it's something in there. And then each week that your kid's here, we'll send you the new elective sheet. And if you want to update it, you can. Change the order of it, all that kind of thing. Because the biggest issue we have with electives is kids saying, I don't want to do that. And then, Taylor, the division leader, is like, well, did you change your electives? Did you update them this week? And you're like, no. And I'll tell you what happens is as kids get older, the parents put more responsibility on the kids, and then the kids don't do it. So please facilitate your kid changing their electives each week. Once you get the new elective sheet, let's go. Let's look at it. Let's go in, make a new thing, help them. Because they're going to get electives they don't want. They're going to request changing them. And then they're not even going to get all their requests because lots of kids are requesting because there's so many kids that want to switch their electives because they don't make the appropriate choices in the first place. Okay. That is what you can do. What can I do to make sure that my kid gets the electives that they choose? Update them each week. That's the answer. Okay. Quick links. You go to returning families again. You click the quick links button because you see the CampMinder buttons on the right side. So that's quick links buttons on the left side. You click that and the thing on the right pops up. Important resources, color war songs, all that kind of thing, right? So you click important resources and this is what it looks like. And these are all links. These are live. You could click any of these now. There's going to be a link in there for this video. Okay, I'm going to put it in there too. This is all the important resources. I stick them in there. Okay, there's the lunch menu, the resource guide. The new bus times will be up soon. Okay, lunch menu. There's the ingredients and nutritional info. Online screening form. If your kid is sick for a few days, you want to fill that out so the nurse knows why your kid's not sick. Because if your kid has something that we need to know, that's the head nurse likes to know if something's going around. Okay. Tutor time elective link. We have an elective called tutor time. If you're a parent that's like, you must do schoolwork at camp, then you take the tutor time elective, and that goes to a form that you fill out that, like, what you want your kids to work on. You're going to send stuff in for them and that kind of thing. I don't encourage that, but there are certain people that really think that's important. Some kids are struggling in school in certain areas and they need to work in the summer on it. I get it. The swim levels, that's interesting. The Liberty Lake in the news, that's an interesting page because we're on the news all the time. We have news crews out here all the time. We already know that Channel 17 is going to be here, that Fox News is going to be here this summer. They already have dates with us because they love showing Liberty Lake in its glory. The map, the Lectionary, the YouTube channel, Facebook page, the camp swag store, that's Bunkline. So our t-shirts and stuff and bags come through this company called Bunkline. They're in Cherry Hill. We've been working with them since we started. They have a camp store of all kinds of amazingly awesome stuff that says Liberty Lake on it if you wanted to get a present or whatever. Cool tie-dye. Hullaball book, Hullaball's Foursquare. The Apparently podcast. We have an awesome podcast that we pay extra money for as a value-added thing for our parents. It's a parenting youth development podcast with experts, including some of the people that come and do trainings with us. It's amazing. The podcasts are wonderful. If you want to know like what we do at camp and how you can do it at home, it's a great podcast. Wake Up Song is a song we play every Monday morning when the kids get to camp. They love it. And the Liberty Lake song is the last thing that we play on Friday before they go home. All right. And there's a great YouTube video with lyrics too. We have the Color War songs. We've got other stuff. Quick links. So that's the parent resource guide on the left. Please read it. New families. There's so much information in there. It'll save you so many emails asking questions. How come? What should we do? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Parent resource guide. Really important for that. Liberty Lectionary is a hyperlink in the quick links, and I sent it to you in the email recently. This is like the insider stuff, the names, the things that we call things, who the people are in camp that are important. This is a cool thing to read with your kids. It's pretty funky. Goes through lots of interesting, funny stuff. What to bring to camp. Oh. So on the first day, well, if you come to the meet and greet, you'll get a Liberty Lake Camp backpack. But if you miss the meet and greet on June 19th, then put your kids' stuff like their their towel, sunscreen, water bottle, that kind of thing. Put it in like a little drawstring bag, and then we'll put it into the Liberty Lake bag and send them home with a Liberty Lake bag. Okay. Towel, sunscreen. So the sunscreen thing, we encourage you to lather your child up with sunscreen every morning. Okay. If your kid is a turtle or freshman, we will relather them after every swim. You don't even have to ask. Just put the sunscreen in the bag and with a Sharpie, write the name of the kid on the sunscreen because the sunscreens get mixed up too. All right. If your kid is a sophomore or older and you would like us, well, this is what we'll do. Normally, we'll help them like on their face or whatever. But if you want us doing like what we do with the little kids, you got to tell us to. We're not going to go doing that. Okay. Unless you tell us to. Of course, if your kid has special needs and whatever, you have like an advocate working with them, that's a totally different deal. Windbreaker. One of the most important things that you could send to a kid to camp at Liberty Lake is a waterproof-ish or water-resistant light jacket that they can have in their backpack so that if all of a sudden we get 15 minutes of liquid sunshine, your kid is not going to be a soaked rat. Your kid is going to be like, got my windbreaker on. And by the way, I am wearing a hoodie. Do not send a hoodie as their water protective thing. That is bad. That is bad parenting. Don't send a hoodie. All right. Water resistant. Okay. By the way, there's kids at Liberty Lake that go to this school up in it's like Pennington or Hopewell or something like that. where the kids are outside all day, every day in the middle of winter. And the parents send them to school like they're going skiing in the middle of winter. Full blown, right? Those kids are the best campers of Liberty Lake, man. They think Liberty Lake's a cakewalk. So anyway, I ask just a few things here. And the windbreaker really is it's sort of vital when it comes to that. All right. Turtles, the division leader is going to ask you to send extra turtle clothes. Water bottle, I used to discourage water bottles before COVID because they would lose them. But now kids are so used to walking around with water bottles and labeling, put their names on them and stuff. Send it. Okay. Because when pandemic hit, we replaced most of our water fountains with water bottle filling stations. Cold water from the well. Excellent. Okay. Through a filter. All right. So yeah, send that too. Yeah. I wrote here turtles, freshmen, and sophomores. They put their backpacks in their cubbies and they stay there the whole day. The juniors and seniors and teens, they tend to like to walk around with their little backpacks like they're in middle school. All right. They just do. Sneakers and socks. Okay. I know this is a big deal. Well, my kid likes wearing whatever's what are they called? Those rubber things from hell. Taylor, help me out. What are the things that kids like to wear on their feet? Crocs. Thank you. A little brain fart there. Crocs. If you're sending your kid with Crocs, they better be those industrial Crocs that like the armies use in Afghanistan, because these kids are running around. They're doing like American Ninja Warrior stuff here at Liberty Lake. Like they need to run, and I don't want them twisting their ankle. And what ends up happening every single summer is that we get about 5 kids or staff who are walking around in a boot. Okay. And a lot of times they're in boots is because they twisted their ankle because they weren't wearing sneakers and socks. Okay. Or it happened outside of camp too. So I don't want kids on crutches needing golf cart rides all over the 60 acres of Liberty Lake. All right. I want my kids running and walking. Shorts, t-shirt, right? We talked about the bathing suit thing. All right. Yeah, we talked about that. Keep money home, except if you want, optional. We do fundraisers here, right? I told you we have a Liberty Lake Foundation. And so we do, we'll have little bake sales and swimathon kind of thing. Oh, we sell slushies one day for the whole summer for one division kind of thing. We'll literally raise $2,000 in a day selling slushies, for like $2 or $3. And we have a thing called the Snack Shack. Let me explain the Snack Shack. Very important. So when I took over this place, the people that owned it first. So when I was here the first 3 years, we leased it, and they had soda machines. And the guy who owned the place made a killing because people were buying sodas all the time. So I bought the place. I said, no more soda. I was raised a health food kid. So I changed it to like waters and Gatorades and juices and things like that. But then my maintenance guys were spending half their day taking out like Chuck E. Cheese slugs and rip dollar bills. And I was like, this is a waste of time. So I got rid of them altogether. And now we have this thing called the Snack Shack, which is where the slushy machines are and the pretzels and the ice pops and stuff. And if kids want to buy a Gatorade or a bottled water, like I said, we have filtered awesome water here. But if they want to buy a bottle of water, they want to buy a fruit juice, right? They can buy it there instead of using the machine. Okay. They don't have to. We have water everywhere. Unnecessary. Okay. But it's there. We also sell like camp t-shirts and swag and stuff like that, like, hoodies and baseball caps. If they wanted to buy things like that there. Again, not necessary. You can just buy it through bunk line and have it sent to you also. Miscellaneousness. God, I love that picture. It's one of the best Liberty Lake pictures ever. So liquid sunshine, we talked about. It happens, right? So the rule at Liquid, the rule, if you've ever been on a tour with me and asked the question, so Andy, what do you do when it rains? The company line is, it's not raining until I say it is. And we don't call it rain, it's liquid sunshine. Light drizzle, we go about our day. Nothing changes. Nothing. We're going swimming. We're doing everything. Okay. My brother lives in Seattle. It rains all the time. Okay. Um, I haven't been there, but I have friends that have been to Ireland and Scotland. They don't even sell umbrellas. You know that? They don't even sell them. They just dress appropriately. They got their little windbreakers or whatever, and they're good. Okay. Now, if it totally comes down and it's raining sideways, it's thundering and lightning, yeah, then we're getting off the field, we're going under the pavilions, and we're doing stuff under there. Okay. But generally speaking, in New Jersey, in the summers, that kind of heavy thunder and lightning kind of thing happens few and far between. And when it happens for 15 or 20 minutes. You know when it happens big time? It happens at the end of the day. So at 4 o'clock, when we start loading the bus, and it's been a humid day, and it's been building up and building up and building up. As the kids are going to the buses, the skies just freaking open up. And from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, that's when it generally rains in New Jersey. Okay. It's very rare in the middle of summer to get a lot of rain in the middle of the day. Hot weather is actually way more of an issue at Liberty Lake. So what do you do when it's hot? Well, fortunately, we've got 2 giant pools and a lake, so we could swim the entire camp if we wanted to at one time. We also have an irrigation system, and we've set up these things called a make it rain system, where we put these things in these poles into the irrigation system, and basically it waters big areas of blacktop the same way that they would water what you call a sod farm. We got it from our irrigation company that does irrigation for our sod farm. Just big areas. Kids love it. They're like, Andy, make it rain. So we have slip and slides. The kids, the counselors play games like drip, drip, drop, which is duck, duck, goose with water. Like we keep them wet. And if your kid has like anything in the afternoon, like if they had basketball or baseball or whatever, we would cancel it and they would be swimming. They would take them swimming. So my deal with you is that if you send your kids to me on a 100-degree day, I'm going to send them back to you like a prune because they're going to be wet most of the day. Because that's how we stay. That's how we stay. That's how we stay cool. My daughter, I was told you, she lived in Panama for 3 years, right near the equator. Cold showers. That's how she stayed cool. Jumping in the water and taking cold showers because it was just crazy hot, for major parts of the season there. So we do have a plan, but it is outside. So it is what it is, but we do our best to keep them wet and to keep them dry in liquid sunshine. Foundation celebration I told you about. We do fundraising things to raise money for our foundation. Picture day online. Why would I write that? Anyway, you're gonna because the sign up is online. You're gonna get an announcement about Picture Day. Picture Day is Friday of week 3. If you're in camp, Friday of week 3, you're going to get an individual picture taken of your kid by professional photographers and a group picture. Super cute. The group picture is super cute. I highly recommend that. You're going to get an email from the photographers. This is out of my hands. Okay. You're going to get an email from them. It's going to say, here are the proofs. If you want them, you can buy them. Here's our packages, like school, right? If you want them, buy them, right? That's what it is. We're taking pictures all the time. So if your kid is not here week 3, you're probably still going to see pictures of your kids in some ways, especially if you get the facial recognition. But yeah, we only do it week 3, and it's crazy that we even do it. We're shuttling 800 plus kids in front of the cameras and stuff like that all day. It's nuts. Sunscreen, bug spray. I think you should get the bug spray that has the sunscreen in it. That's a good invention. They didn't have that when my kids were kids. So check that out. It's not very buggy at Liberty Lake, I have to say. It's very breezy. You see right behind me, it's like a valley, and it's sort of like a little wind tunnel. The wind just keeps moving right through, right? So bugs are not a big deal. Um, but sunscreen is a big deal. That said about bugs, I'm a big believer in baseball caps. I wear a baseball cap every day at camp. I encourage my kids and everybody to send base kids with hats because it's really sunny and we're outdoors, right? And, we haven't had a lice epidemic in camp for a long time. I don't want to say we're due, but it happens, right? It's just like school. It can happen. The kids wearing a hat, they don't share it with anybody else. They're safe, right? Also, kids, we have electives that they go into the woods, right? Like survival skills and nature kind of things like that. It's outdoors. There are ticks. Ticks exist. Okay. I have pulled ticks off of me here. It happens. Now we spray and we do all these kind of things, but again, we're outdoors on 60 acres. It's going to happen. A hat will help so that a tick does not land on your hair. If a tick lands on your body, it's a lot easier to be like, ooh, there's a tick. Let me get rid of that. If it's in your hair, you can go for days and not know, right? Yeah, we're in nature, right? Like the kids always ask me, are there, is that a snapping turtle in the water? Yes, there's snapping turtles in the water, but they're little and they swim away from you. They don't want anything to do with you. Okay. Are there leeches in the water? Yeah, there's leeches. We've probably pulled 5 leeches off of kids in 23 years. Okay. It's nature. We're dealing with nature. Everything happens. Right. And then the last thing is label everything on this. Right. Please label. And if your kid's name is like, you know, some general name, oh my God, you know how many Emmas we have? Holy crap. If your kid is named Emma and you just write Emma on a towel, that is not helpful. We got so many. Um, at the end of the summer, parents like tipping their counselors. This is like a tradition thing. And then when COVID hit, we stopped the money thing because everybody was freaked out about touching things, right? So we started using this app, which is free. And it's called Grazi. And it's sort of like Venmo for camp staff. So we put our camp staff into it with their pictures, and then you could slide through and be like, "Oh, Lou, is this your swim instructor? Okay, okay, yeah, we'll give her $10 or $20 or whatever." And you can tip people that way if you want to. Optional. When we hire people here, we tell them there are no expectations. All right, we make it clear, and we pay them pretty well. But certainly the high school kids, the high school kids make less than minimum wage. It's like a leadership training kind of program. So they're the ones to me that really deserve tips. But the group leaders do very well, I have to say, as well. This is that podcast I was telling you about. I wanted to I want to see if I can grab this and throw it into a thing. It's in the quick links. And when you click on it, it has the information that you need to do it. What else? June 19th is meet and greet. All right. You come between 6:30 and 8. You don't all have to come at 6:30. That wouldn't be a mess. All right. And please don't come at 8 because they're leaving at 8. Okay. Come between 6:30 and 8. And we'll give you instructions and we'll email you. You're going to go to your kids' arrival area, which is their assembly area, because each division has a different assembly area. And the counselors will be waiting there and they'll be happy to meet you and they'll introduce themselves to your kids. So your kids will get to place a name and a face. So when they get off that bus the first day, they'll be like, "Oh, I can't wait to see, you know, Catherine and Emma again," right? And then if they come, we will give them their camp backpack and a t-shirt, a camp t-shirt in there. Again, if they don't come, not a big deal. We'll give it to them on the first day of camp. They'll go home with it. Okay. If you can't make it and you have friends that are going, tell your friend to pick up your kids' stuff and we'll give it to them. Okay. We'll do the honor system on that. So that's the meet and greet night, 6/19 from 6:30 to 9. Family night, Wednesday, August 7th, rain date, August 8th. It's a big open house, right? It's a family night. We have a killer barbecue from 5:30 to 8. We do the camp show. If you want to see Oliver, the kids will see it during camp, but if they're not there that week, they can see it that night. The Oliver musical. And then we give out awards for kids who have been at camp for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. We give things out and we do a big ceremony for that. You guys don't have to worry about that just yet. And we open up stuff at camp. So we have boating open and things like archery and the zip line just for parents. So wear your sneakers and have fun. Play basketball, play gaga with the kids. It's a good time. It's a lot of people there. All right. If you don't like crowds, don't come. It's going to be like 1,500 people there. Easy. Okay. But it is a really good time. I really feel good. If it's great weather, then it's a great night. Okay. Top 15 list right now for everybody. So if your kid doesn't start until week 6, I don't care. Fill out your top 15 list. Get it in there because you know what happens? You're going to be at the Jersey Shore week 5 and you're going to forget to update them and at least we'll have something in there. Also, it lets us see right now what's popular so we can move things around if possible. Parent resource guide, it's online and we are literally stuffing the envelopes that'll be out. Hopefully we'll mail it out by Friday to you. Bus routes and bus times. Okay. The New Jersey bus company is dragging their feet a little bit on this because frankly, it's not fair for me to say that because they have a lot more bus runs than the Philly ones. But the Philly bus company actually did theirs. So I am putting into the chat for my Philly people, these are the tentative bus times for Philly. Yeah, so enjoy that. But we'll be sending out the full bus times probably next week. Okay. It's approximate time for the morning, approximate time for the afternoon. Back page of the parent guide had all those contacts, all the emails, all the phone numbers you need. Okay, we talked about the companion app. If you want to download the CampMinder companion app, it's a great way to do forms. It's a great way to do the top 15 list and the facial recognition thing. That is only through the app. And I hate when I go to Disney World, and as soon as I get there, they talk to me about coming back the next time. It gets me almost violent, okay? Because I'm spending so much money just to get there. But I'm just going to give you a heads up right now because you're new families, and I don't want you to say I didn't tell you, because I explained that signing up at Liberty Lake is buying Taylor Swift tickets these days, right? We open enrollment just for returning families from August 12th, which is Monday of week 8, until Labor Day. You literally have like, I think it's 3 weeks exclusive. I send you reminders. I am even going to text people this time. I have never texted people about enrollment, but I had so many families that missed and got closed out and put on waiting lists because they just didn't read their emails. So, or, they changed jobs or whatever, and an email was going to the wrong place, blah, blah, blah. Because at 12:01, the day after Labor Day, like the floodgates open up, and all your friends that you've been telling about camp, they all start signing up. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, I forgot to sign up. And we're like, oh, well, you're on the wait list for 3 of the weeks, And I hate having those conversations. Health history, we cannot allow your kid in camp unless they have a health history. It is a state law. So if you haven't done it, please do it. And oh, put your questions in the chat for Taylor right now. Put them in there. Okay, now's the time because I'm out of info. I won't. Yeah.
Can you talk about the companion app more?
Oh, the thing with the companion app is that I really don't know about it that much because we started using it in the middle of last summer, and I really didn't have like a ramp up time. In the packet that we're sending you, we're putting a flyer that has all the information on the companion app in it. The most camps, okay, are in America that use CampMinder are sleepaway camps. It's a lot more important for parents to have an app because they're getting all kinds of notifications and stories and this and that. You're seeing your kid every day at 4:30, 5 o'clock. You're seeing them again. Okay. So for us, to me, the companion app is good for filling out your forms on your phone so you don't have to pull up on a desktop. Excuse me. And for the facial recognition thing. I am not going to send really important communications through the app because I have no guarantee that you're downloading this app. So if I have a really important thing that I'm going to send you, I need to text message you it, okay? And that means that in your CampMinder dashboard, you have to actually allow us to text message you. There's like a text message permission thing. You have to sign off on us being able to text message you. Okay. So so I am not sending vital communications through Companion. Maybe one day as more and more people start using the app, then I'll have somebody in the office emailing parents, text messaging parents, companioning them. Oh my God, what a pain in the butt. So that's a story. So before I go into more questions, I just want to thank you guys for doing this. I spent a lot of time on that book, right? About children and anxiety and stuff. And I got to tell you, I went through I go through every single camper and every single staff person with every one of my division leaders. So I'm like 90% through right now. And especially the younger kids who were born like right after COVID, it is just so sad to see the amount of kids that are diagnosed with anxiety and things like that, like literally diagnosed with doctors, not just their parents thinking it too, right? For you to send your kids to camp is the best thing you could possibly be doing for your kids, to get them outdoors, playing with other kids, taking risks, like Jonathan Haidt said, off of the screens. I mean, it is literally the greatest thing. So I salute you guys for doing it, right? Most of your friends probably think you're nuts sending your kid away. What? Don't you love your kids? Why would you send them away to camp? Right? So they can have the best time of their life and so they can grow into like the greatest versions of themselves. That's why. So it's more contact info here, right? All this kind of stuff. By the way, if you ever want to send your kids to Count Southwood Sleepaway Camp, we do have a discount for Liberty Lake families. But I'm not pushing that at all. All right. That's just if you want to send your kid to sleepaway camp, you want it to be a really good one in the mountains where it's cool all the time. That's that. All right. What do we got in chat land, Taylor? You answered everything. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. This is last call. Last call. How old do you need to be in dodgeball? Dodgeball. Yeah. If you don't know what Gaga is, Gaga is it was actually an Israeli game because Ga is hit in Hebrew, right? And Gaga is played in this like octagon, although the sides are really low. And it's this really soft ball, really soft. And you slap this ball, and if a kid gets hit from the waist down, they're out and they have to sit on the sides. Okay. It's a cross between handball, because you have to hit the ball, dodgeball, because you don't want to get hit by the ball, right? And gladiator, because the last person standing is the winner. And the most important day on our spirit calendar out of all those 38 days this year is the Gaga tournament. People change their vacation plans so their kids doesn't miss the Gaga tournament. And last year, I think a third grader won. So yeah, little Riley won. Riley, by the way, one of those kids that went to that crazy school in Hopewell, outside in his ski pants in the middle of winter. Um, he's competing now for like American Ninja Warriors things. But yeah. Um, that is Scoop. Oh, we got a lot of messages. Are there still weeks open? Yes, there are little weeks open here and there. So if you're interested in potentially adding, I'll tell you right now, week 2, which is the 3-day 4th of July week, there's a lot of space that week. Okay. And I priced it accordingly. So it's cheap that week. Um, if you want to if you want to add a week, you can email Joe at Liberty Lake Day Camp and ask him, hey, I am the parent of whatever. Is week 4 available? Is week 2 available? Whatever. And he can just add it on right then. All right. What is the protocol for taking the Newfie home for a night? That is freaking hilarious. Listen, our Newfies are the best dogs ever. The story of the Newfies is that my wife never wanted to have a camp dog. And she never wanted a dog. She didn't grow up with dogs. I always wanted dogs, but I'm always working, so I didn't have a vote. So we saw that there was another camp in Long Island that had a puppy program where they got puppies and kids played with them and washed them and fed them and trained them or whatever. And then at the end of the summer, they auctioned them off for charity. So we have a foundation, so that was the plan. So I talked to Brandy, who is a real dog person. She's the program director, and I was like, find me dogs who a little 5-year-old could put their hand in the dog's mouth and the dog will lick it, smell it, and walk away. Newfoundlands. They're giant teddy bears. So we got these Newfoundlands and we put them in the program. And then the last week of camp came and I was like, okay, time to auction them off for charity. And my wife was like, you can't take Callie Bear. And Brandy was like, you can't take Rosie. And I didn't know what Newfoundlands were. And then it was like, they just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And now we got these 100 dogs. Um, so the feather and fur elective, the animals there, um, chickens are the big thing. The kids love the chickens, right? And we get them little, right, from Agway. And then the last 2 years, and I think still is the plan, we get the Nigerian pygmy goats that are the cute little goats that look like puppy dogs. They are awesome, right? And then the Newfoundlands, right? But you got to understand that the dogs, um, they're Newfoundlands. They're wearing fur coats, so they're not outside all the time. And when they are, there's really one thing they want to do, and that's go swimming in the lake or the pool. My wife prefers they swim in the pool. They smell a lot better. Um, Moo the Comfort Cow is coming on Campapalooza Day. which is week 8, second to last day of camp. Moo will be here all day. Moo is the greatest. If you want to see Moo, you can go to the Renaissance Fair this weekend too. Let's see.
Andy,
Yeah.
I had one parent ask if they can request to not have their child photographed or videographed.
Yes, you can. So if you don't want your kid to us taking pictures of your kids and all, do me a favor, send an email to me, Andy@libertylakedaycamp.com, and we will get a picture of your kid. We'll need a picture of your kid so I can show Frank, our photographer, so that he doesn't take pictures of your kid. And yeah, and if it gets up and you see something up there like it's a shot and it's unintentional or whatever, just let us know. We'll take it down as well. But like I said, 99% of the pictures are going to go into the Camp Minder photo album, which is under lock and key. You have to lock in. Only camp families are allowed to see it like that. We put a handful of pictures on Instagram and Facebook each day, but we don't put a ton. There are camps that put hundreds of pictures up every day. We don't do that. We don't want you thinking I'm going to see my kid on social media, right? Because it's not. I want to give you a semblance of what we think of what you think camp was that day, so that you can talk to your kids about it. Okay. And then if you want to go searching through, the annals, you can. Or if you want to do the facial recognition, you can. But yeah, it is not our intention to flood people with pictures like publicly. We don't do that. But I'll tell you, every single parent that has said that it wanted their pictures taken of their kid initially, after like halfway through the summer, they were like, you know what, it's okay. But we leave that up to you. All right. Oh, they just turned the lights out in the bar. We got 5 minutes. Any other interesting things, Taylor, from this evening?
It says if we are okay with pictures for camp and not for social media, is that okay?
Again, we'll try. We'll do our best. Send me who it is and the picture of the kid, and I will give it to, because we have one woman who is our social media curator. So she takes all the pictures and then she puts the ones on social media. And like I said, there's not many. So if I give her that picture, then she'll get that in her mind and she'll look for it. Oh, why do we only offer 8 weeks and not the full 10 weeks? That is an awesome question. We used to do 10 weeks. And then what happened is in June, the schools keep on going later. So in 2021, week 1 of camp, we had no teachers at camp the first few days. They were all still in school. And by the way, the high school kids are still in school. We're still in school. So it was a real struggle for us. And then, they've added Juneteenth into the mix and snow days, even when kids can go virtual. I don't get it. So like even this year, there are staff that are missing the first couple of days of camp this year. So we are getting squeezed at the beginning of summer. And then the end of the summer, this is the one that really irritates me. When the pandemic hit in 2020, right? The next school year, that September, the colleges were so paranoid about losing days, right? Because, they were sending everybody home and all this kind of thing. And in order for them to like pass on to the next thing, they have to be there a certain amount of days. So they were like, we're going to start college early. We're going to start college like August 10th or something, so that if we have to send the kids back, there'll be enough days. So now the pandemic's over and the colleges are still bringing the kids back in the middle of August, or sometimes even closer to the beginning of August. So the reality is, I really only have 7 weeks that are totally unencumbered, and I stretch it to 8. And that last week, I have to have extra staff on hand to fill in for my college kids that are going back already on August 12th. Okay. Basically, if anybody goes to college right outside of like the immediate area here, those kids are going back early, right? I just hired this great guy from Purdue. He's got to be back. He's not an RA or anything. He's just got to be back for classes for August 12th. So think about it. I used to do 10 weeks, and then for years I did 9 weeks. I mean, from Andy, the businessman standpoint, like I'm losing hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue because of this. And then, and then the reason why we're doing 38 days instead of 39 days is because I've been doing this long enough now that whenever the 4th of July is an interior week, the the so last year, 4th of July was a Tuesday, and we made everybody come to camp on Monday. So we had camp on Monday, then 4th of July Tuesday, and then that kind of thing. Well, on Monday, 200 kids called out of camp because, of course, their parents were taking a 4-day weekend, right? And I dragged my staff in, and they were miserable. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. This year, 4th of July's Thursday. We're just gonna do a 4-day weekend and make everybody happy. So, so that's that. Um, yeah, so I would love to do more days, but that's just the way the cookie has crumbled for us, unfortunately. All right, I am about to do more work because this time of year it just never ends. So thank you for your time. You guys can always email me, Andy@libertylakedaycamp.com. You're going to be getting emails soon from the division leaders, and then you can ask them division specific stuff. But thanks for your time. Thanks for caring so much. I really appreciate that. It sort of freaks me out when parents sign up their kids and they don't know anything, and then the expectations are all over the place. So I really appreciate this. So have a great rest of the school year, and we'll see you guys real soon. 20 days. Woohoo!